Can you hear me now?
Yes, Madam Chair, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Tonight's Committee of Adjustment hearing is being held by video conference and live stream video on the town's live stream webpage at oakville.ca. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act. Please keep in mind the intent of this process is to review the application that is before the committee, listen to the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any concerns or disputes that may exist between the town, individuals, or organizations. If a request for a deferral is made and the committee grants such a request, the applicant or authorized agent must contact the Secretary-Treasurer to schedule a new hearing date. In order to conduct an effective and efficient electronic hearing, we have adopted the following process. If you are watching the live stream of this hearing on oakville.ca and you wish to speak to an item on the agenda, you can call 905-815-6095. Again, the number is 905-815-6095. The number is also posted at the live stream at oakville.ca. Staff will be standing by to take your call. When you call in, staff will ask for your name, item number that you wish to address, and your telephone number. Further instructions will then be provided for you to call back and join the video conference. When the chair of the committee polls for interested parties, you will press *6 to unmute yourself. The applicant or agent will then be given the opportunity to briefly explain the committee, the basis of the application, answer any questions that may arise. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. The full name and address is provided for the record, and any submissions beyond 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. All delegations must also state their full name and address for the record. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. The applicant or agent will also be provided with a further 5 minutes to respond to comments made by interested parties and answer any further questions from committee members. If the applicant or agent has any concerns, particularly found in staff report and proposed conditions, this will be the opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken into committee for a decision, and that will mark the end of all discussions. Any persons desiring a notice of decision for an application must provide a written request, preferably through email, to the Secretary-Treasurer. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed no later than 10 days for minor variance and 15 days for consents to the applicant, agent, and any other person who has filed a written request for such notice. The last day to appeal the decision to Ontario Land Tribunal will be noted on the decision. Please note that only the applicant, specified persons, or public bodies may appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. In November of 2022, Bill 23 legislation, the More Homes Built Faster Act, amended the Planning Act to remove appeals rights for the members of the public. If no appeal is received within the prescribed timeframe, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding, and the Secretary-Treasurer will then notify the applicant and anyone who has received a copy of the decision through written correspondence. People participating in this hearing are to be courteous to and respectful of the members of the committee, town staff, and any other person participating in the electronic hearing. Again, tonight's electronic hearing is being video recorded and available for future viewing at oakville.ca. We have no regrets this evening. I have any declarations of pecuniary interests? I see none. Anyone is interested in a deferral to discuss things further with staff or find that their application would benefit from the deferral, this will be the time to advise us. Madam Secretary, or is there anyone who is waiting with hands up for a deferral?
Madam Chair, I don't see anyone with their hand up at this point.
Very well, thank you. We have no consent applications. We'll start with the first item on our agenda, and that's application A10 of 2026 at 1171 Sarta Road. Again, that's application 10 of 2026 at 1171 Sarta Road. I have Mr. Joseph Dome here as the agent.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, now we can. Go ahead.
Okay, Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owners. The owners would like to construct a new two-story dwelling to accommodate their family needs. We have gone through the pre-consultation process with staff and have made a small revision to the driveway to preserve the neighboring silver maple tree, number N1. There are three variances requested. Variance number one refers to the proposed private garage of 52 square meters, and this is to allow for some additional storage space at the rear of the garage and does not have a negative impact to the street. Variance number two refers to the proposed RFA of 43.9%, and the design incorporates a lowered roof line, articulation, step backs that helps to visually reduce the massing impact. And variance number three pertains to the proposed front deck of 7.5 meters. And this is due in part to the angled front lot line measured to the northeast corner of the dwelling, while the setback does increase to meet the bylaw toward the south. Staff are supportive of the application, and there is a nice letter of support submitted on file from the neighbor at 1177 Wood Place, which is the street behind to the west. And overall, we feel the application is quite reasonable and minor in nature, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dome. Yes, we do have the letter of support from Mr. and Mrs. Trigono. Are there any questions of Mr. Dome at this time? Has anyone called with interest in this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one present has their hand up.
Okay. If there are no questions of the applicant and there's no interested parties, we can move the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Ms. Price.
Taking into consideration my site visit, the various reports from the agent and staff, and there being no letters of opposition and one letter of support, I believe the variances to be minor in nature and are in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw and is desirable for the appropriate development of the land. I agree with the agent and staff that the application meets the four tests of the Planning Act. The proposed development maintains and protects the character of the existing neighborhood and does not present any unacceptable adverse impacts. In conclusion, I recommend the application be approved subject to the following conditions. That the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated October 27th, 2025, and elevations dated September 12th, 2025. And that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? With you none, all those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a nice evening.
The next application on our agenda is application 11 of 2026 at 283 Royal Oak Court. Again, that's application 11 of 2026 at 283 Royal Oak Court. I have John Wilmot here as the applicant.
Madam Chair, it looks like the agent, Emily Villa, is here. She works for the same company.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Villa.
Well, good evening, Madam Chair. It's actually John Wilmot of Wilmot.
We're playing musical chairs on us.
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay.
Emily had a family matter. I haven't been here in a while. She usually does these presentations for our firm. Anyway, the application before you tonight is to create a few additions to this existing house, and only one of them on the side yard is increasing the coverage and we're applying for a minor variance to allow an increased coverage. The process started with a pre-consultation meeting with town staff. It was very constructive. There's a few minor tweaks, and based on the staff report through this process, they've kindly supported the application. We acknowledge that there is a concern from the neighbors and about protecting their trees during construction, their hedge, actually the cedar hedge on the right side of this drawing. And we were able to consult the arborist and come up with mitigation to help protect those. Of course, that's a matter for the site alteration permit process, not really a matter for committee of adjustment. But our client was able to convey a few things that we will do to mitigate and minimize any disturbance to these trees. They in their letter, they did support the application. We thank them for that. And so I just want to acknowledge that also that the staff has indeed supported the application and the minor variance, and that we're aware of the two conditions that are recommended for if the committee is going to approve it, and we support including those as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wilmot. Any questions or items of concerns from the committee members to Mr. Wilmot? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a couple of questions, and maybe I'm reading this wrong and you can educate me. But I'm seeing that the rear yard appears to be, rear yard setback appears to be 5.05 meters, or we usually think of a rear yard setback according to the zoning bylaw as 7.5. And likewise for the front yard, it appears that the existing is 6.03 meters, not 7.5 meters. Can you just explain what I'm misinterpreting here and why variances aren't needed for those?
Was that directed to the?
Oh, it's directed to you. Sorry, the consultant.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we had an extensive, my understanding was because, first of all, in the case of the rear setback, that's a porch that's existing, and we don't need a variance for something that is existing.
Okay.
And secondly, that the same with the front yard setback. So I'm turning my head because my drawing's over here. That the I apologize. So I just had to look at my drawing, but that it matches the existing setback, and therefore it didn't require a minor variance. Perhaps town staff could support that or comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Dickey, you want?
Yeah, thank you very much for the consultant. Now I'm just going to turn to the staff. Have I been wrong in the past where existing houses have needed variances for existing situations where they don't comply to the zoning bylaw? Maybe
Hi, Mr. Dickey. It's Rob Thon here.
Thank you.
I'm not sure of the situation that you were alluding to. However, this was broached through the pre-consultation meeting with zoning staff, and zoning staff basically confirmed that the existing 6.3 front yard setback and the 505 rear yard setback to the metal canopy did not need a zoning bylaw amendment or a minor variance, I should say.
So nothing's changed in the last few years. I
am not aware of that. So,
okay, that must have been mixed up.
As I said, this was they're likely legal non-conforming right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or items of clarification? Okay, has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up here.
Very well. We'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having undertaken my site visit and having reviewed the materials, including the written staff report, having heard the presentations and the response from staff, I am satisfied that the requested variance conforms to the 4 tests of the Act, and I'll put forward a motion of approval. That motion will be subject to 2 conditions, those being that the additions to the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the site plan and associated elevations and floor plans dated October 14th, 2025, and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved. None opposed. Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, application 12 of 2026 at 1198 and 1208 Lakeshore Road. Again, that's application 12 of 2026 at 1198 and 1208 Lakeshore Road East. I have Mr. William Hicks here as the agent.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members. It's an application for A1226 for a property on Lakeshore Road. It has 2 street addresses because there's a double property there. It's the old Ballymena estate, which many have probably seen before behind the stone wall. There's an existing large house on the property, about 15,000 square feet. And there's a coach house, a heritage coach house on the property. And there's also an existing log cabin that went for a variance a number of years ago. We are adding an addition to that log cabin, and I'll show you where that sits on the site plan, but our addition is the same height as what's existing right now. The variance seems large because the accessory structure is only allowed to be 4 meters high. If you go to the next drawing, I'll explain that to you. So on that site plan, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but the small log cabin is way down here adjacent to a dead end at Bel Air Road. When it was originally built, height of accessory structures was measured from the center point of the front lot line. And at that point in time, it was deemed to be 8.6 meters, I believe. Since that point in time, accessory structures have now been measured differently. So they're measured as average grade around the structure itself. So the actual existing structure is 9.6 meters high, or 9.7 meters high. We are asking for a variance that's slightly higher than that. And the only reason for that, even though it matches the existing, we've increased the footprint, which you can see, and we can go to the next drawing, which will show that better. That's just the site plan. Let's go to the next drawing, please. So that's a blow up of it. That's the existing log cabin there. We're putting the addition onto the, call it the east side of the property. It's really invisible from everyone else. And the only reason the variance number is slightly higher at this point in time, because the footprint's expanded, average grade is calculated differently yet again. So it's the same height as the existing structure, but it's now reading as a variance of 10.16, I believe it is. So I know that planning has, or 10.26 meters. So planning has certainly supported the application. It's really not visible to neighbors. There's no trees coming down as part of this. The roadways all stay where they are. It does have a garage underneath it. It's an art studio for the owner that's an older member of the community for quite some time. And it's really quite a beautiful estate. He wants to preserve that. And even the pond that's down adjacent to it is not being touched. So there's 1 or 2 minor trees that are adjacent to the driveway that are transplantable, so we'll move those around. But there's no changes to grades on the site or anything else. So, and as I say, the only people that can really see it are people that walk down a walkway leading to the lake, just on the bottom center left of that. There is one house that's adjacent to it, which is heavily treed between it. You really can't see the house even from the existing log cabin. So fairly straightforward application. Accessory building in addition to it, which matches the height of the existing, and there's no other variances attached to it. Even the existing building is 8 meters. The proposed addition that's from the side lot line is probably about 17 meters from the side lot line. So it's really quite invisible. So in fact, most people don't even know there's that structure back there. There used to be a pool structure in that same location in the past. So with that, I'll leave it open to any questions. Haven't heard from any neighbors. No one seems to be concerned with it because it isn't visible, and planning certainly supports it, and we're supportive of their recommendations. So.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hicks. Any questions or items of clarification of Mr. Hicks at this time? Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just concerned about the wording of the variance to increase the maximum height of the accessory building to be 10.26 meters measured from grade. The thing I'm going to ask you, are there other accessory buildings on the site?
No, there are not. There's a pump house, which is down by the lake, but it's been there since the old estate was there. So I guess you could possibly call it an accessory building. And the other building is the old coach house, which sits right on the lakeshore, which is a heritage building that has apartments within it. So no, nothing else that would, if your concern was that other accessory buildings might be able to build to that calculation, that's not the intent. And this is the only one. So
I'll let you say. So the coach house would not be considered an accessory building?
I don't believe so. It's zoning hasn't called it an accessory unit because there are two addresses on the property and it sits on the other address, but there's one tax bill. So it's a little odd the way it works. So, and it's certainly much higher than what this building is anyway. So that structure that's up at the lakeshore is probably another 3 to 4 meters higher than this. So.
Okay, I'm just concerned about that aspect of it. Okay, thank you very much.
I don't mind if the condition says to be attached to only this accessory building, which makes sense. So, but that's certainly that's the only intent. So,
any other questions? Okay. Has anyone called with interest for this application by the Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up.
Very well. Then we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'll be pleased to move this application be approved as applied for, finding that it meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. I don't believe there will be any impact as a result of this variance. Further to Mr. Hicks' comment, I can attest that this building is hard to see even if we walk down that walkway adjacent to this property. Madam Chair, I'd make the approval subject to 2 conditions. That the dwelling be, I'm going to change that to the accessory building be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated November 19th, 2025, and the elevations dated December 1st, 2025. I think that condition will satisfy Mr. Dickey's concerns that they have to build in accordance with the plan, so they can't build anything else. And secondly, that the approval will expire within 2 years if the building permit hasn't been issued.
Thank you, Mr. Talowski. Those amendments have been noted. Is there a discussion on that recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved. None opposed. Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Have a good night.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, stay warm.
Yeah. Application 13 of 2026 at 2505 to 2515 Charles Cornwall. That's again application 13 of 2026 at 250 to 2515 Charles Cornwall Avenue.
Hello. I also have with me Ivy Liang, if she can be added to the meeting as a participant. Perfect. Thank you. My name is Jennifer Druzek. I'm the agent for the numbered company for the file A13-2026. I'm located at 55 Sinclair Avenue, Toronto, Ontario. And we're just going to go through a really brief outline of the 3 variances we're seeking today, in addition to the supportive staff report and also from the community members. So Ivy, I'll pass it on to you as well. You can introduce yourself.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ivy Liang. My address is 33 Shepherd Avenue East, and I'm a planner with Arcadis here to present the minor variance application for 2505 to 2515 Charles Cornwall Avenue. Next slide, please. So the site is bounded by Bronte, Charles Cornwall, Merton, and Badger Crescent. The site is situated within the broader residential Bronte Green subdivision with the Halton Region Woodlands Operations Center located across the street and across the street from Bronte Creek. Next slide, please. So through the subdivision process, a site-specific zone was established with specific provisions for the site. Through the ongoing site plan process and detailed design, these 3 minor variances are being requested. So the first variance is for building height, which is being reduced. The zoning bylaw requires a minimum building height of 7 meters. However, we are requesting to reduce it as it would transition nicely to the surrounding low-density residential area. The second variance is for parking, which is also being reduced. This is supported by transit, walkability to the surrounding neighborhood, and the parking demand calculations as outlined within the parking justification report as a part of this application. We've also had discussions with town staff to implement the smart commute program as well. And the third variance is for the rear yard setback. Badger Crescent is being considered as a rear yard because of the multiple frontages of the site, when in reality it acts mostly as a side yard. Next slide, please. So the intent of the minor variance is to enable the neighborhood commercial designation in the official plan, which allows for a range of uses as shown on the slide. Next slide, please. So as previously mentioned, the surrounding subdivision development established this site-specific zone that has detailed provisions just for this site. So the neighborhood commercial C1 special provision 376 zone allows for a range of retail and service commercial uses and has specific provisions for setbacks, height, and a requirement for 80% of the frontage along Bronte and Charles Cornwall to be occupied by buildings. Next slide, please. This slide is just a text summary of the 3 variances we're seeking as previously illustrated on slide 3. Next slide, please. And as stipulated by the Planning Act, these 3 variances meet the 4 tests as illustrated on the slide. We have no issues with the supportive staff report and appreciate the multiple letters of support we've received from the surrounding community and the local councillor as well. Thank you, and I'll take any questions.
Very well. Any questions or items of clarification from committee members to the applicant? Agent? Mr. Dickey, I see your hand. I see it.
Me again. I got all my troubled ones going first. I have kind of like 3 concerns here. My primary concern is the setback. It's the zoning bylaw requires 7.5. You're proposing a 3-meter setback. And my concern is that this abuts residential townhouses, and to have a 3-meter setback for such a change of use is to me not enough. And when you look at another component of the zoning bylaw, and it was in your actually maybe not in your presentation, but at least in what the original application had in it, it said that the setback between residential uses and commercial retail uses should be 7.5. So that aligns with what the zoning bylaw says when they called this a rear yard. So try to, I know that, well, no matter what, there's 2 items that talk about a 7.5 meter setback. And it's not just a side yard, but this because it abuts residential, I'm concerned. So help me out here, convince me that I'm wrong or whatever else.
If we have an opportunity to respond to that through the chair, as part of the site-specific application as well, there is a requirement to meet an 80% frontage requirement along both Charles Cornwall and Bronte. So as part of the site-specific zoning bylaw, there was a conceptual image that was provided to show generalized locations of the buildings largely taking up the frontage on Bronte and on Charles Cornwall, taking into consideration pedestrian access along the northern portion, between the buildings, and then also vehicular access as well. So there is definitely a balance of trying to maintain that 80% frontage along those two right-of-ways. And then the 3-meter, what is referred to as the rear yard setback, is also mirroring what is provided as part of the residential area as well. We haven't received any comments from the community objecting to the variance, seeking only 3 meters. So we did receive a handful of letters providing their support for this application. But I will pass it to staff if they also have anything to add to that.
So are you at the 80% frontage?
We do meet, yes, we do meet the 80% requirement with this.
So is that a zoning, that in the zoning that you have to have 80%? And is the word frontage versus flankage? Frontage is Charles Cornwall. Flankage is Bronte Road. So when you talk about the 80%, you're talking about frontage and flankage.
The way, and I see Colin, you have your hand up, but the way that we have interpreted the bylaw specific to this site is that the 80% encompasses both frontages along Bronte and along Charles Cornwall. And it is supported with an illustration that shows it as well.
Let's skip all that. So how justify to me why the 3-meter setback that you want is still a minor variance relative to the impact on the existing residential townhouses to the immediate north of that. I don't see it.
And sorry, just for clarification, the immediate north, like the existing row of townhouse units?
Yes. That's my concern. My concern is you've only got 3 meters between the townhouses and the edge of your residential building. That's my concern.
Yeah, there is a 3-meter setback, just to clarify, from the property line to the building, and there's a setback, a side yard setback, also for the townhouses within their property limit as well. The area in which the setback is provided is limited in terms of use as well. There will be a pedestrian walkway, but there is no like vehicular usage of that area as well. So the intent of the variance is to, again, like maintain that the goal of the frontage being continuous along both Bronte and Charles Cornwall, while not impeding to that residential area. And so this is part of a broader site plan application as well that the community has been involved in. And so we have not heard any objections to it, but we have heard, again, support from like direct neighbors.
I'd really like it if you had support from that neighbor right there in that townhouse.
If I may,
but I didn't see it.
If I may interject through you, Chair, I think I can provide Member Dickey with a bit more comfort in understanding how the applicant is mitigating potential impacts. If I may interject in the conversation, maybe provide some clarity.
Go ahead, Mr. Westerhoff.
Thank you very much. So through you, Chair, and to Member Dickey. So the provision in the site-specific zoning bylaw is for 80% of the lot line for both Bronte Road and Charles Cornwall. So those are the two, and that is critically an activation piece in where we wanted the non-residential uses to be predominantly located. So they're satisfying that, and they can do that through a number of different permutations of different buildings, and truly that is being maintained. And so that's kind of the location. It's that corner piece of Bronte and Charles Cornwall where we wanted those non-residential uses to be focused, to sort of activate the gateway, if you will. Now, your comment with respect to the potential impacts on the townhouse to the north, basically, of the site, if we're using the lake as south. What isn't sort of included in this, but what is you will note on the site plan, there is a substantial amount of tree coverage that they're providing on the site. So the town has a 20% canopy coverage that we require all development to attain and do their best to achieve. And so part of this is the applicant has provided a level of screening along that shared boundary to mitigate any potential impact of someone seeing a two-story building. And I will just remind you that this is a two-story built form of a townhouse next to a two-story built form of a non-residential use. So it's not creating any sort of substantial overlook condition. And one thing that isn't included in this package that really you would only know if you were looking through the site plan application is there's a photometric plan that has been submitted with the application. Photometric plans are basically plans that show light spill and where light is provided on the property and if there is spill across a property line. And what I can confirm for you, and what you can find this on the website or by emailing us, and we can provide it with you, is the photometric plan. And there is zero light spill across this property line. So not only are they buffering sort of the res and the non-res use, they're also mitigating any potential impacts when it comes to lighting on that site. So I think, if that helps and provide any sort of clarity on how these impacts are being mitigated, I hope it's been helpful.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Did one of you say that there's a walkway going to be in that 3 meter? Anybody? No? I thought one of you said that there was a walkway there.
I thought I heard Jennifer.
I did not say there was going to be a walkway.
No, I heard Miss I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name and I don't want to butcher it. I heard you say there's also a walkway, yes.
Yes, sorry, that was myself. We are currently underway through the site plan application process, and through the most recent iteration of the site plan, I don't know if I'm able to show it or if it's worth showing, but that walkway was originally proposed and we're currently no longer showing it. So that was actually an error on my part, but that was part of the December submission that we had made, where it was taken out as part of comments received from staff.
Okay, thank you.
So there's no walkway.
No, sorry, that was an error on my part.
Okay. I'm still concerned. I can't see this being only a minor impact to those townhouses. Nobody's convinced me. Well, the town planner said you got some screening in there, but it's only 9 feet wide. And what's going to stop, maybe more importantly, what's going to stop people from going up there to get into the plaza? Walking along there, even though there isn't a walkway.
Through the chair, I don't know if it's possible to show the staff report on screen where we have the site plan, just to better illustrate the landscaping that's provided, and the kind of dividing line between the existing residential and the proposed building.
If the site plan was part of your application, we can pull it up.
Okay, great. It is I see in the supporting documents online.
Just give them a second.
It's page 12 of the submission. Sure.
Sorry, Madam Chair, just give us 1 sec. We'll bring it up.
Sure.
just to interrupt or come on. I have that in front of me now. So I can see that I can see 1, 2, 3 sets of trees you're putting in there. I don't necessarily see a hedge. I don't see anything about a fence. I mean, there must be a fence there, but as far as what privacy it's going to provide to that house, that townhouse.
I imagine the house itself has a fence, doesn't it?
Whether it's
It
a
does,
board
yeah.
fence as opposed to a chain link fence, I didn't notice. I should have. And I'll just continue.
Maybe I can further clarify for Member Dickey through the chair that it's actually a 3-story residential built form, right? Adjacent to this new 2-story non-residential piece. So I'm just trying to understand the nature of the concern. Is it a screening and buffering issue, or?
Oh, to me, it's just way too close to the residential. I'm just trying to hear what you're saying about mitigating elements that you've tried to compensate for that fact that you're so close. Like you were saying, whatever you said about this, I still look back to the zoning bylaw that says there should be 7.5 meters between a residential and a commercial. Like if the zoning bylaw says that, like why have you allowed this to happen? It's just 3 meters. It's not like it's 5 meters or something like that. Maybe we should just leave this. I don't think you're going to convince me on this. So if anybody has anything else, that's fine. But I don't want to make too much time. Unless you got some really good point to convince me on this, I don't think that's going to be doable.
Yeah, that's the same plan. Did you want to say anything, Jennifer, before we take it into committee? Now that the site plan is up, I don't want to take away from your time.
Yeah, I think the comments made from staff in terms of the technical studies that we provided to support the application, and then just the one comment to Member Dickey through the chair regarding if individuals were to pass through to the plaza from the residential area. I think, in our opinion, I don't think that would be changed at all if there were an increased variance of 5 meters versus 3 meters in terms of allowing people access over a fence. That's the only additional comment I have at this time.
Okay, very well. Thank you for your comments. Staff has answered Mr. Dickey's questions as well. Ms. Price, do you have a question?
Isn't the whole the site surrounded by roads? So it's not like the houses are.
No, from 2 edges. So yes, there's the Charles Cornwall and then there's Bronte, but there are triples, townhomes that are triple deckers on the, I don't know, is that the south? Yeah, I guess that's the south.
So there's Badger Crescent and then Merton Road as well, right? And then you have Charles.
Yeah.
So it's
only one edge that has the townhouses.
Okay. That's all I have to ask.
Oh, did you? Okay, that was just a clarification?
Yes.
Okay. Anything further before we take the matter into committee? Has there been any calls or interest in this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dickey, yes.
Sorry. So I covered off about the setback. I'm not happy about the parking, and I'm not happy about the letters of support. So I'll just get it off my chest, so that if obviously I'm going to vote against it. So if this follows my lead, that's fine. But I just wanted to make 2 other points. Parking, you're 17 spaces short, but from when I looked through all your documents, it seems to be you're only going to provide 6 spaces to park bicycles. You'd think if if you're knocking down 17 spaces, you'd be way increasing the number of bicycles you're allowing, or bicycle racks, I guess. Now, I might misunderstand what those bicycle spaces versus bicycle racks are, but that's my one question. I'll just make this second point on the support. I think there's 7 or 8 letters of support. Only 2 of those are within a block. The rest of them are like blocks away. So I'm wondering, those letters of support are only saying, oh, we want to have a convenience plaza here, which would make sense for the neighborhood. But none of those, except for the ones, the 2 that are within block, they're in the next block over. They're not going to be affected if there's a parking problem on the local street. So even the ones that are closest are not going to be affected by the parking, and certainly not affected by the house that is so what will be the retail building being there. So I just wanted to make that comment, because when you sent out your form letters, you seem to have sent them out far afield from where the property is, because they seem to be form letters, and one of them's in an apartment building with two of the letters of support are on the 5th floor of an apartment building. So I just want to point that out for everybody else to think that the letters of support are not direct neighbors. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, but the notice did go out to those immediate neighbors. So we have to assume that they've been notified, and if they have any issues, that they should have come forward, especially that they've had the community events where they've engaged with the community. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Kuzak.
My understanding that the letters that go out are only within 100 meters or so of the property. These other properties, these other letters of support were far, far away.
No, I understand that. Well, that's what I'm saying, Mr. Dickey. I'm saying that those people will have received the notice, and if they had any issues, being that they are in such proximity with the development, they would have come forward, right? That would be my assumption.
No, I was pointing out the letters of support.
No, and I agree with you 100%. They bolster the application, but they may not necessarily be what you want to see in terms of the letters that were shown. Yes, I agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
I lost my train of thought, but I did have a question. That's my question. Do you have a list of tenants that are already signed up? And if you could share the type of retail businesses that are going to be in this facility?
We have a list of potential tenants for the site that the client is in conversation with. The major kind of tenant that is anchoring this development is a small like boutique grocery store, like market store, which would be one of the bigger tenants. And then it is other like office type uses that would be permitted and encouraged on the second story, similar to like a pharmacy, a dental clinic, RMT, things of that nature, physiotherapy. Those are the types of uses that would be on the second story.
Okay, so I now I have a kind of idea of what the layout would look like, and and we see you have a supportive traffic study that was included as well. Okay, any other questions, items of concern? Have you said everything you wanted to say, Mr. Dickey, before I put this into committee?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Okay, if you have nothing further, we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to start the discussion? Or move a motion, start the discussion? Okay, Mr. Dickey, go ahead.
I've done almost all the talking.
It's fine.
I'm going to have to be quiet for the rest of the meeting.
You're reading this one, you might as well, so go ahead.
Having regard to my site inspection, my own personal experience and what I interpret there, I understand. I mean, I realize there's letters of support. I've criticized them. I realize the planning department is in favor of this. I disagree with the aspect of if you know, it's almost like the defense of having this setback so close there is because you need 80% of the building across the frontage. That doesn't, I understand that, but it just doesn't sit well with me when you got that residential building there. So I put forth a motion to deny the approval of this property.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion before the committee is to deny this application. All those in support? Okay. All those opposed?
No.
Sorry, Mr.
I'm sorry,
Hardcastle.
Madam Chair, we did not have a discussion on it.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, you're absolutely right. We did not. Go ahead. Discussion. My bad.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Again.
I have some reservations with the resolution on the floor at this point in time. I think that there are a number of noteworthy points to consider before voting on this. I think, in particular, with respect to the distance separation, commercial enterprise is largely undertaken within a building, and the setback of the building to the property line is of little impact in terms of the negative elements upon an adjacent property. I think there's lots of opportunity, particularly through the site plan approval process, to mitigate a number of the uses that can cause nuisance impacts upon a residential property, fencing and other things that can be dealt with through site plan approval that are outside of the purview of this committee. But I don't believe that the actual distance separation between the building and the property line is of the same significance as Member Dickey would has his concerns about. So I myself do not find concern with the setback distance. In terms of the commentary, I do share Mr. Dickey's concerns about the far afield commentary, and it would be great to have commentary from the adjacent property owners, the immediately abutting property owners, and I do take the word of the chair to heart in speaking to. They were notified and had the opportunity and did not provide significant commentary here in front of us. So I would be opposed to the resolution that's on the table.
Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. I agree. I actually want to say that this is something very similar to a development that's very close to my home as well. And the way they are with respect to parking, the reduced amount of parking really doesn't have an impact because it's just not the type of setup where it's busy all day long at all hours of day because of the separation and the different uses. Anyone else care to comment? Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to add to what Mr. Hardcastle had said, when you go down the townhouses fronting Bronte, they're all 3-story. The separation distance between the townhouse units appears to be as little as 3 meters to as much as 6 meters, including walkways and the 6-meter separations. And those townhouses have active residential corner windows and side windows facing each other. So, Madam Chair, I think if there would be an impact, the impact of the smaller setback between the residential units that's have windows compared to a 6-meter setback between the residential and the commercial. And I also note that the height of the commercial has been lowered immediately adjacent to these units. So I too do not share the concern on the separation distance.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. Now we can take the matter into vote. I apologize for that. So the the recommendation is to deny the application. So all those in support is Mr. Dickey. All those opposed. Okay. So that motion fails. We will need another motion. Who would like to move that motion? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having undertaken my site visit and having reviewed the materials, including written staff report, having heard the comments from the agent for the owner, I am satisfied that the requested variances have conform to the four tests of the Act. I'll put forward a motion of approval. I feel that as I noted previously, the distance separation between the buildings are consistent with the built form typology and rhythm that exists within the area, and that any negative impacts associated with nuisance activities of the commercial property can be mitigated through other site measures through the site plan approval process. I'll put forward so that approval would be subject to two conditions. That motion, I should say. And those two conditions being that the development be constructed in general accordance with the final approved site plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development. And the second being that the approval would expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued.
Okay, thank you. For discussion on this recommendation. Okay, I see none. All those we lost Mr. Dickey. Okay, all those in support? Okay, all those opposed? We don't have him. So then the motion has been approved. Without Mr. Dickey, it's none opposed. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, committee.
Okay, the next application on our agenda is application 14 of 2026 at 251 Jennings Crescent. Again, it's application 14 of 2026 at 251 Jennings Crescent. I have Lindsay Bruce as the agent.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. It's actually Joel Tanner on behalf of Lindsay Bruce this evening.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Tanner.
Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Yes, we have in front of you a single-family dwelling. Variances were approved back in 2020 for a previous architectural design with a previous firm. We were very much using the proposal set forth in front of you today as a guideline and interpretation for the new property owners in order to make application for the variance. We've had consultation with the neighbors, no opposition, handed out letters, spoke with some neighbors about a week or so ago. I'll walk you through the presentation in an efficient manner. Next slide, please. So built form existing partial bungalow, partial two-story, going to be removed and replaced with a beautiful traditional home with a series of roof lines to be able to really hug the stature of the building around the corner and not have it completely dominate the streetscape, but instead nicely blend in with that corner lot condition that exists there today. Next slide, please. Requested variance 1 is a flankage of 2.52. That is an intersect with parts of that side elevation. Again, there was a previous approval for about 2.9, so there's a slight adjustment here on this flankage yard that we're requesting. Next slide, please. Variance number 2, again, there was a previous condition approved slightly higher than this. We are requesting 43.4%. 41 is allowed. Slight deviation from the zoning bylaw intent. Next slide, please. So variance number 3 is a variance for height. So allowance is 9 meters. We are proposing at 9.08. Again, there was a substantial driver on a variable height condition throughout the building envelope, so that again we weren't creating this two-story box condition. It was very comfortable and approachable. Next slide, please. So here is a breakdown of the previous approvals as well as the proposed approvals. So we have the 2022 approved variances in the center column here. 2.95 on the flankage, we're proposing 2.52, 43.67, we're sitting at 43.4, so a slight deviation there. And then again, the previously approved height variance of 9.18, we are sitting at 9.08. Next slide, please. So again, we did canvass the neighborhood on January 20th, myself as well as the new homeowners, which are going to be building this as a future home for themselves. This is not a flip project. This is very much a custom home for a client of ours. And we really think there's going to be quite a positive impact in the neighborhood with this proposed envelope. Next slide, please. That concludes this evening's presentation. Any questions, I'm more than happy to oblige. Thank you so much, committee.
Okay, any questions of Mr. Tanner at this time or items of clarification? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application of Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up.
Very well. Let's have a motion. Ms. Price, go ahead.
Taking into consideration my site visit, the various reports from the agent and staff, I believe the variances to be minor in nature. I agree with the agent and the application meets the four tests of the Planning Act. The variation in roof form, single level building elements, and the architectural components help to maintain the character of the existing neighborhood and do not present unacceptable adverse impacts. I also note there have been no letters of opposition. In conclusion, I recommend application be approved subject to the following conditions. That the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with submitted site plan and elevation stated November 24th, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay. All those opposed? Mr. Dickey, did you have your hand up for the...
I was under the impression I had a computer problem here.
okay. So did you...
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was under the impression that because I didn't have the total presentation, I'm not allowed to vote. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But I thought you were in attendance for the entire presentation of application 14.
You're saying Jennings?
Yes.
This is the first part of Jennings' question.
Oh, okay. So you weren't in attendance for the first part of Jennings.
Correct.
Okay, I wasn't. I must have been
So
looking at my screen.
Jennings.
Okay, so that's fine. So Mr. Stewart is not voting. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved.
Thank you so much, committee. Have a great evening.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we're all here for Tisdale. Mr. Dickey, can you try muting your microphone for now? Because there's an echo. Okay, thank you. Okay, application 15 of 2026 at 1125 Tisdale Street. Again, that's application 15 of 2026 at 1125 Tisdale Street. I have Mr. Stephen Emo as the presenter, and he is the homeowner.
Hello, do you hear me or see me?
We hear you. You
Okay.
can turn your camera on if you'd like us to see you, yes.
No, like this, okay. Better, allow. Sorry, I'm not very good at this.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, hey, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My case number is A12-2026. Steve Emo representing myself at 1125 Tisdale Street in Oakville. I'm requesting a minor variance for the floor area from 41% to 44.69. I guess an increase of 3.69. I've gone through the pre-consultation meetings with the city planner, And I guess he had no objections or concerns and we sort of agreed on that it was okay to move forward. So here I am. We've done, like for our building, we've done some sort of mitigating on massing. I know there's a bungalow just north of us. We tried to mitigate that by stepping the front building back at the front, and also in the back of the building that faces my neighbor, it's sort of pushed off. We've stepped back on that side too. So I'm hoping that's enough to satisfy my request, and would answer any questions.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Emo. Any questions or items of clarification of the applicant? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
Madam Chair, there have been no calls, but we do have a hand up in the audience.
Okay, go ahead.
Laura Gates Brox. I'll move her in.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
I'm sorry, I don't know why my camera's not working. Okay. Hi, Steve. We're
Hello.
neighbors across the street.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question.
Okay.
I couldn't tell from your plan. The tree that is right across the street from us, I think from what I could tell on your plan, and I don't know for sure, but what's happening with the tree? There's like a very tall pine tree that's sort of, I think, in the same spot where your driveway might be proposed to go.
Right. So yeah, okay. So with this change right now, the way my house sits is that like I've got my garage towards my backyard, and I can't actually get access to my backyard and actually use it. So we have kids coming over. I can't see them doing. We've got no, like, it's truly needed for family enjoyment of a property. So for that reason, we've moved the driveway to face Willis, and there is that tree, the evergreen tree that will need to go. It's a big tree. It's not something I want. I'm very happy with the trees that are in it. My property has beautiful trees, and I have a lot of them on my property. I think I still have 4 large trees that's going to be remaining. But yeah, that tree, whereas I like it a lot, I think for functionality of my house, I like that tree. I will be asking in the site planning stage for that tree to be removed. And I do it with, not a happy heart. I tell you, that's one of the reasons why I bought this on our street. I love our street.
I have no issues with your house at all. Okay,
no problem.
I only care about trees.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there is one. I'm sorry. It's gonna go. I mean, like, I hate, like, you go down the street and people have fixed their house and every tree is gone. And yeah, well, it won't be like that on mine. I will have significant coverage. It'll be hard to get a suntan on my property, at any time. I've got trees covering. The canopy coverage is still substantial. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions or items of clarification from the committee members before we take the matter into committee? Okay, I see none. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Talski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm going to move that this application be approved as applied for, finding that it meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. Madam Chair, this is a really well-designed, sensitive house that I feel the design is going to mitigate any potential impact. I would note the one concern the resident had about the tree, that really is a tree permit matter, not a variance matter. I would make the approval subject to 2 conditions: that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the site plan servicing plan dated December 1st, 2025, and the elevation drawings dated December 1st, 2025, and that the variance expire if the building permit hasn't been issued within 2 years.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Otalski. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Very well. The application has been approved, none opposed. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
All right. Okay. So we are hearing application 16 and 17 of 2026 together, but we will be moving them separately. So just bear that in mind as we hear the application and the presentation that the agent has for us. So this is application 16 of 2026 at 2098, 2100 and 2104 and 2110 and 2120 Marine Drive, as well as application 17 of 2026 at 80, 90 and 100 Sarah Lane. And we have Mr. Adrian Litavsky as the agent. I hope I pronounced that okay.
No, just fine, Madam Chair. Thank you. Okay, hopefully you can all hear me. And so yes, I am the agent. I am a land use planning consultant that has been retained by the condo corporation. And I also have here as well Mr. Jim O'Carroll, who is the president of the condominium corporation. He should be among those watching, and he's available for questions. So we can either have him there sitting and observing and then make him available should you have questions, or I saw that you might even be able to add him as a participant, and but I'll be doing the presentation. So I mean, if it's possible to add him as a participant, then I will ask you to do so.
Yeah, while you're doing your presentation, I'm sure the Secretary Treasurer can move him in.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
So as you mentioned, there are two applications here, A016 and A017 2026. And the reason for that is that this is a singular townhouse condominium corporation with parcels of land on either side of Marine Drive, a parcel to the south and a parcel to the north. And the issue that we have here is a request for a single variance in both cases, because the intent is to replace a total of 50 existing wooden decks at the back of each unit. And I'm going to ask you to put up on the screen, let's see, it's page 13 of the supporting documentation, page 13 of the PDF, and perhaps you can zoom out. And this is just a side elevation, very simple request. This is the deck that's being proposed. In each case, these townhouses are 3 stories and the deck is accessed off of the second story. And now in terms of the history of these decks, this condominium corporation was first completed, sometime in the late 1960s, early 70s, and these decks have always been part of it. And this is actually will be the, I guess, third generation of decks that we're requesting permission for. The various decks were replaced in 1989, and those are the ones that are in place today. And they've been around for quite some time now, and frankly, they're just reaching the end of their usable life. And so the reason we're here before you is that of the 50 existing decks, 37 of them are of a larger size. They project out 2.8 meters from the existing townhouses, and that's the existing condition today. There are, however, 13 of those decks that project only 2 meters out. They're slightly shorter. The intent in this renovation is to replace all of the decks at the larger size. So 13 of the decks will go from 2 meters to 2.8 meters. But the applicable bylaw standard limits that projection to 1.5 meters. So there really is the variance that we have before us today. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to go to page 3 of the staff report, actually. And there should be a staff report on file.
Madam Chair, it will take us a few minutes to bring up the staff report as it's on the website.
I see. Okay.
I mean, we do have the staff report, so we can look at it if that's what you're most interested in, highlighting something for us.
Exactly. I just wish to highlight figure 1 of the staff report. And what that is a site plan that was prepared as part of this application. And what that site plan highlights is the location of the 13 decks that will be increased in size. All the other units have the larger size decks already, and we are just simply proposing to replace them with new decks of the same dimension.
Okay.
And so
does the staff still need to pull up the that page?
If it's any trouble to do so, then no, I don't think so. As long as the committee members have access to that staff report, I just thought it was useful to illustrate where those 13 decks would be. I leave
so
it to
if you just give me a second, can everyone see that page? If just a show of hand, thumbs up or whatever. Okay, we're good. So we're good. I can see it. Everyone else can see it, so it's fine.
Okay,
they're
wonderful.
pretty staggered all over the place, except for that one row to the left.
Yes.
Okay.
And I can tell you that that row to the left, in that drawing, north is actually to the left. And those units that you see where there's that number of them in a row, those are actually backing onto the Lakeshore Road frontage.
Okay.
And so they're a little bit shorter there. But as you mentioned, yes, the other ones are kind of scattered throughout the facility. So you have on file in our submission a far more detailed rationale letter that I prepared, where indeed I have gone through the 4 tests of the Planning Act and have concluded that they are indeed satisfied by this one variance. It is designated medium density residential. It is zoned for the use that's in place today. Once again, we're only dealing with this one zoning standard that was confirmed through the pre-consultation process by town staff. And on top of that, I see Mr. Thun is in attendance as well and was very happy to see his report and that staff is recommending approval. And so I believe, in my opinion, it is fairly straightforward and represents good land use planning to approve this. However, I do also want to respond to the fact that I understand there was a letter that was filed. And now the letter specifically stated that they weren't writing in opposition or support necessarily, but they did note that there were a number of dimensions on that site plan that they felt were wrong, that were incorrect. So obviously that caused us some concern, and so we went back and we checked it, and I have to say, they are correct. There are, unfortunately, we regret to say, those dimensions that they highlighted, which are from the rear of one of the blocks of the townhouses in the southern block, the 2120 block of townhouses. The dimensions from the back of those townhouses to the property line are incorrect, and we regret the error. And I've talked to the engineers, and I just mea culpa. I have to acknowledge that indeed those are unfortunately not correct. But having said that, I did go over with those dimensions, and more importantly, I went over the dimensions of the proposed decks and the drawings that we have, and we're still confident that the variance that we are seeking, the 2.8 meter permission, both for the existing decks and for the smaller decks that will be expanded, that number is correct. And I can also say that despite the error in that one dimension or those dimensions to the property line, it does not affect the variance that we're asking, nor, having reviewed it in more detail, does it affect my opinion. At the end of the day, what we're talking about are replacing decks that have otherwise been there for many, many, many years without issue. I can also confirm that within that block of townhouses, that 2120 address range, there are none of the smaller decks that are being replaced. And so, I'm just checking my notes here. Yes, so it's regrettable, but I, still stand by the application. And if, however, there's anyone here on hand participating who may have, further questions about the application, and what I mean is members of the public, and they wish to speak afterwards, I'd be happy to reply to whatever issues they may raise or answer their questions. Otherwise, I am here to answer your questions, as well as Mr. O'Carroll.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Any questions, items of clarification from committee members to the applicant? Okay, I see none. Madam Secretary Treasurer, has anyone called with interest for this application?
Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one present has their hand up.
Very well. Okay, I'm satisfied. We can move the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle. Mr. Hardcastle, you'll have to move them separately as I mentioned prior. So you'll move application 16 for the 2000s, and then you will move application 17 for 80, 90, and 100 Sarah Lane.
Thank you for the reminder, Madam Chair. It's been helpful. Having undertaken my site specifically with respect to CAVA 016 of 2026 for properties located at 2098, 2100, 2104, 2110, and 2120 Marine Drive. I have undertaken my site visit, reviewed the materials, including the written staff report, and having heard the presentation from the planning consultant, I am satisfied that the requested variances conform to the four tests of the Act, and I'll put forward a motion of approval subject to two conditions, those being that the balconies be constructed in general accordance with the updated site plan and various deck permit drawings submitted with the Committee of Adjustment application, and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued. Would note that there were no members of the public present with respect to this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. There's thorough recommendation. All those in support? Okay, and the application has been approved, none opposed. Floor is yours.
Madam Chair, specifically with respect to application CAVA 017 of 2026, properties located at 80, 90, and 100 Sarah Lane. I am satisfied, having reviewed the materials, including the written staff report, having heard the presentation of the planning consultant, and having reviewed the materials, I am satisfied that the requested variance conforms to the four tests of the Act. I will put forward a motion of approval, surprising, and that a motion would be subject to two conditions, those being that the balconies be constructed in general accordance with the updated site plan and various deck permit drawings submitted with the Committee of Adjustment application, and that the approval expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued. And again, no members of the public were present with respect to this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved and none opposed.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Have a good night. Thank you. Now we are at application 18 of 2026 at 53 Dunn Street. Again, that application 018 of 2026 as 53 Dunn Street. I have Mr. Amar Shakil as the agent.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to present this application. Sorry. Okay. My name is Amar Shakil, and I'm representing Grand Vice Design Studio and the owners of 53 Dunn Street. We are proposing to reconstruct an existing single-story detached garage and add a modest storage room, increasing the total floor area from 44.98 square meters to 60.83 square meters. This application requires 4 minor variances. First, a garage setback of 5.21 meters from the flankage lot line, where 5.7 meters is required. This is an existing non-conforming condition. Second, distance of 1.44 meters between the dwelling and the accessory structure, where 2 meters is required. Again, this reflects the existing configuration. Third, an accessory structure height of 4.7 meters, where 4 meters is permitted. A difference of only about 2 feet 4 inches. It is important to note that this additional height occurs only at the peak of the roof. If you can go to slide number 3. As you can see on this, the form slopes down to the eaves that are only 10 inches higher than the existing garage. Next slide, please. This modest increase is essential to accommodate modern vehicles. The existing garage doors are only 6'5" tall, forcing residents to park on the street. The proposed height will allow interior parking, reducing on-street parking pressure. The fourth variance concerns lot coverage. We're requesting a lot coverage of 31.06%, where 25% is permitted. However, the existing lot coverage is already 29.49% due to existing non-conforming conditions. It's interesting to note here that the dwelling itself occupies only 17% of the lot, and the remainder consists of covered and screened porches, which are characteristic of the homes in this heritage district. The proposed addition adds just 1.57% to the existing coverage. Importantly, preliminary consultation with town heritage staff was very positive. They appreciated the design sensitivity to the conservation district's character. It should also be noted that the garage itself is not a heritage structure. Additionally, no significant trees will be affected. We also want to thank one of the neighbors who have submitted a letter of support. Even though we did receive a letter of opposition, if that mentioned concerns with daylight. So if you can please move to the last slide. Slide 11, please. As you can see, we have done a very quick shadow study here, showing that the existing configuration, the difference between the existing configuration and the proposed addition makes no change to the shadow on the neighboring property, as most of the shadow is being cast by the existing 2-story dwelling. Continue, the rear storage addition is not visible from either adjacent streets and has no impact on the streetscape. The design complements surrounding structures and maintains appropriate scale relative to both the lot and the principal dwelling. These variances are minor, maintain the intent of both the zoning bylaw and the official plan, and will not negatively impact neighboring properties or the public realm. I respectfully request the committee's support for these variances, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shakil. Any questions or items of clarification of the agent? Okay, I see none. Madam Secretary Treasurer, has anyone called with interest for this application or raise their hand up?
Madam Chair, there have been no calls, but we do have a hand up. It's Dr.
Okay.
Richard Casey. Moving him in now.
Mr. Casey, I see that you're in the panel, but we can't hear you, so I'm not sure what's happening on your end. We can't hear you and we can't see you. Madam Secretary, was this a phone call or a computer connection?
No, he joined Zoom online.
Okay, so
Joined the
there
meeting
might be
online.
something wrong with his computer. Mr.
Yeah.
Casey, if you can hear me, maybe try calling the phone number. For some reason, your Zoom is not being captured.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
We got you.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, well, I think the echo comes from both the Zoom and the phone working together. So one has to be muted, I think.
Is that better now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, put a little volume. Can we hear a little volume? I'm sorry.
That's fine. We can hear you just fine. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, and I have a degree in computer science, believe it or not. You never know that.
It happens to the
It
best
happens.
of us.
So,
I can.
I'm Rich Casey, and I'm here with my wife, Carrie McLennan, and we're the neighbors immediately east to the proposed garage renovation at 53 Dunn Street. We note that the garage is already very close to our property line, and the proposal increases the height and extends the structure further back, blocking our only window to our main floor. As you can see on the drawings, the shed in the back of the garage will completely close any view we have
And in doing that, they have to remove 2 large trees. I think the plan says that one is small and one is large. One of the trees is at least 40 feet tall. It's as tall as the heart.
It says bush.
And one's a bush. There are a number of mature bushes that are going to be removed as well. The increase in the garage height will further exacerbate a problem that we've had where there's flooding in the alley between our house and their house, and I mentioned it is an alley, already floods with runoff from the garage, which is very close to our property line. And when the height is increased by 2 feet, it will exacerbate that problem significantly. We already have some flooding in our basement when it rains, likely from the rain and runoff from the garage as it stands now. It will affect the trees and our growth along the side as well with the increased shading. I take exception to the shading study because we look out the window every day, and right now we look into nice mature trees. And when this is renovated, we'll be looking into the wall of a storage shed at the back of the garage. We have met with the architect and suggested that some changes, which obviously have not been incorporated into the change of plan. So we feel that this will dwarf our house by the extra 2 meters in the garage. We already have a small house. It will affect water drainage to our side of the house and into our basement. And it obscures the view of our bay window. And you can see the bay window is fairly close already. By eliminating 2 large trees and increasing the size of the garage so it completely blocks the view out of our side window.
Yeah, I see that. Any questions of Mr. and Mrs. Casey? Okay. I see that. Mr. Shakil, is this development subject to a what are the words I'm looking for? Site plan alteration permit?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
Yeah, and we will be applying for that alteration permit once we have the committee's approval.
So drainage and stormwater management, all that should be covered under that?
That's right, yes.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. and Mrs. Casey or the applicant before we take the matter into committee from the committee members? Okay, I see none. Has anyone else called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, no calls and no one has their hand up.
Okay. Who would like to move a motion? I'll give everyone a minute. Mr. Shakil, why the increase in height?
So the height is increased because to accommodate modern cars, because the existing garage, the height of the doors are too short. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is if you can go back to the slides, I can show you the streetscape on slide number 3. So it's in keeping with the roof slopes of the main house, and to conform with the requirements of the heritage preservation as well, heritage conservation. That is something that the staff noted from the heritage staff, that the roof, it's a better solution when it comes to the roof slopes to match the main house in terms of heritage outlook as well. And again, the excess height from the allowed is not substantial. It's only 2 feet, and it's contained at the peak. If you notice the shaded portion, that's the only excessive height that we are requesting. The rest of the form slopes down, and therefore, like, it's not going to be a massive increase in form.
Was there a reason that this rebuild was necessary? Was it falling apart, or?
It is an old structure, but it is not deemed heritage. As I said, the height of the current doors are at 6 feet. Yeah, 6'5" tall, which forces the residents to park on the street. And so to make the garage more useful, and to accommodate modern vehicles, we need to increase the height as well. And to allow for modern storage as well.
Okay. And you still have to get heritage permit approved, correct?
Yes, but we have the heritage committee's preliminary approval after consultation. So they are on board with this.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions. Committee members, Mr. Casey, you have your hand up. Is there something that you would like to say? Okay, I guess that's from before. Members,
No. It's from now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I want to take exception to the driveway will fit 4 cars easily as it stands now. The owners do not have to park on the street. The driveway is as long as our driveway. It's identical to our length. So the garage does not have to be altered so they can park in the garage, which the previous owners were able to do. They do not have to park on the street with the way it is.
Okay, thank you for your clarification.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now in committee, so it's just the committee members who are going to speak. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Dick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Basically, I would like to have a motion to approve. I sort of going through these things. I see the setback to the flankage is only half a meter short from what the bylaw requires. I acknowledge what the neighbor just said, that they could park 4 cars there. That's because there's quite a bit of room between the front property line and the sidewalk, from what I can see from the site plan. There's an issue, obviously, with a neighbor about the tree in the back. I see what he's talking about there. If I read the site plan correctly, it seems that the hedge that goes down between the properties is actually not on the property line. Don't know. So it makes it look like that garage is very close to the side yard, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The lot coverage I considered, but it has a huge porch, which looks very great from a heritage point of view, and that porch takes up a lot of the lot coverage. So I sort of took that into consideration. If that makes sense. The height, I see what the logic of the slopes. I didn't realize the existing garage was too short for the top was to get cars in. See if the lines. I'm not sure if there would be any more drainage problems because of the slope of the garage. I normally see that the budget covering certain at the same time, rain runoff, no matter what. So those are my thoughts. I conclude that this, in my opinion, the variances of minor nature and conform to the four tests of the Planning Act, and I therefore put forward a motion that the approved subject to the conditions that the additions to the dwelling be constructed. I wonder if we should say the addition, only in addition to the garage, as I understand, but maybe we can discuss that when we see. The additions to the built dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the site plan and elevations drawings dated December 16th, 2025, and the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Ms. McPhail, should this read the addition to the accessory structure or the garage versus the dwelling?
To you, Chair, yes. It should actually not say the addition to the existing. It should not read dwelling either. It should read that the proposed or the new garage be or accessory structure be approved in accordance with. It's a new structure. It's maintaining the existing footprint with the exception of the addition in the rear. And it is at height. So in order to address all of that, it should be, and I will refer back to my comments because I had had those. Sorry, just for a second here.
We can write the new garage be constructed in general accordance with the site plan and elevation.
The detached garage.
A new detached garage be constructed in general accordance with the site plan and elevation drawings dated December 16 of 2025.
Yes, that would be my suggestion.
Okay. Mr. Dickey, that's okay with you?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
Okay. So the discussion is the motion is to approve subject to these conditions. Is there discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, all those opposed? Okay, the application has been approved with the red condition. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Application 078 of 2025, deferred from June the 11th of 2025 at 3208 Victoria Street. I have an agent, Mr. Raffo. Again, this is application 078 of 2025, sorry, tongue-tied, deferred from June the 11th at 3208 Victoria Street. Go ahead, Mr. Raffo.
Good evening. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Chair and member of the Committee of Adjustment. I hope all you are doing well. My name is Kusei Rafa. I am a professional engineer, and I'm here representing the owner as an agent for the 3208 Victoria Street. I don't know if I can share the screen from this side.
No, you can't. But if you've given your submissions to town staff, they will put them up. So you just have to ask them what page you'd like.
Like page A501. So, yeah.
A501, okay.
A501. the one before. Okay, this one, but I think there is something I cannot see it here. The one before. Okay, let's talk about this if you don't mind. So the main issue was about the, can I use my mouse here? The main issue is between, okay, there is application for the second dwelling. So the setback on the between the properties are 1.6, which is enough, but the side entrance have an issue with the drainage and swale area, which is like like it was small. So the city didn't accept that, and I said you have to have a bigger, more area. So we contacted the deferred application was to communicate more with the city officials, further consultation with neighbors, and some revised drawing and additional technical study. Our main contact was Mr. Abhishek Kumar as a development engineer at the planning and development at the same town of Oakville. So we end up with, like he said, if you want to do the drainage and swale issue, we have to contact the neighbor and have the neighbor accept this because he needs 0.9, like 0.45 plus 0.4, 5.9 altogether. And I don't know why the page here you have, there is the page before it, A501, which I have it here. We show that more. So we provided all the document to Mr. Abhishek, and we told them the neighbor send a letter. I can share the letter. I think you have it. The neighbor was a good neighbor, accepted the idea of having common swale and common drainage, which like a little bit of an area from both properties. So this common drainage area will help of no issue with the drainage system and swale system. Like everything should be solved. And Mr. Abhishek in his email on November 19, he wrote in his email, no concern with the proposed walkway and the common swale. So that was the main issue. And then Mr. Abhishek, he said everything is good to go. And we submitted all the document, all the revised drawings, and that's all. I don't know if there is any question or any concern or.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, do you have any questions of Mr. Rafa at this time or items of clarification from the submissions that we have before us? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one present has their hand up.
Very well, thank you. If there are no calls and there are no questions, let's take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Ms. Price.
I cannot hear anything.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, yes, Ms. Price.
Okay, yes,
Ms. Price was muted.
Now I can hear it.
Yeah,
I can hear it.
okay.
Thank you. I looked away from my screen, so thank you for catching
Sorry
that.
about that. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, Ms. Price.
Taking into consideration my site visit, the various reports from the agent and staff, I believe the variances to be minor in nature. And I agree with the agent and staff that the application meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. There have been no letters of concern. And I'd like to also state that I appreciate the efforts of the owner and staff to resolve the issues of which originally prevented the application from being approved. In conclusion, I recommend the application be approved subject to the following conditions. The uncovered access stairwell below grade be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site grading plan dated November 1st, 2025. The site plan and the elevation drawings be dated November 18th, 2025. and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if the building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Okay, thank you. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Thank you and have a good night.
You too all. Thank you.
Okay, the last item on our agenda tonight has been deferred from October the 2nd of 2025. It's application 131 of 2025 at 1284 Warwick Avenue. Again, that's application 131 of 2025 at 1284 Warwick Avenue. We have Mr. Michael Barton as the agent.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, Mr. Barton.
Thank you. So yes, I reviewed the staff comments. So as noted, this was deferred previously. We've reduced now the application to one variance. So it is a variance for floor area ratio to be 42.28% versus the 41% that is permitted. I noted in the staff report, I don't believe any comments were received from any members of the public. Staff did not object to the variance. I would agree with them that the changes that were made to eliminate two of the original variances have helped to address the concerns that were expressed in the original staff report. So just as a quick overview, this property is currently occupied by a one-story single detached dwelling. The property has frontage of just over 20 meters and it's 702 square meters in area. It's effectively a corner lot location with the way the property is configured, so that there's only property lines shared to the south and east. As I noted in my justification report, the property that's to the south has its rear yard aligned with the shared property line, so that's providing a considerable amount of spatial separation in that rear yard. The neighborhood itself is characterized by single detached dwellings of variable height, massing, and scale. Staff had noted that as well in the staff report, that we do see examples of newly constructed two-story dwellings at particularly 1289, 1297, and 1303 Warwick, and these are also located next to the existing single detached dwellings of one story in height. So we do see that as part of the character. So the proposal involves the demolition of the existing dwelling, construction of a new two-story dwelling with attached garage. Through the revisions that were made with staff, the dwelling does comply with all the performance standards for height, setbacks, and lot coverage. So effectively, the dwelling being contained within the permitted building envelope. So what we're requesting is the additional 97 square feet or 9 square meters that translates from the 42.8% to 41% is permitted. The building was designed with an articulated roof line, so there is variability in massing as you move towards the rear of the dwelling, towards that property line. And again, in looking at the neighborhood character, the proposed massing and scaling, in my opinion, is consistent with what we see with the other two-story dwellings that have been constructed in the neighborhood. In terms of the test, my opinion is that the variance that's being requested maintains the intent purpose of the official plans. It's going to comply with the maximum height, minimum setbacks, and maximum lot coverage to provide for compatibility of massing and scale, and provide buffering to the neighboring properties in the public realm, particularly relevant, considering the variety of housing in this neighborhood. The dwelling is providing variability and articulation to reduce its massing towards the public realm and adjacent properties. As I noted, it's contained within the as-of-right building envelope that's established by the performance standards, and will be consistent with the other two-story dwellings that have been constructed in this neighborhood. In terms of the zoning bylaw, my opinion is the intent of regulating the floor area ratio is to make sure that the built form and scale is appropriate when you take into consideration the size of the lot. So under this proposal, the dwelling is going to be similar to the other two-story dwellings and fully within the as of right building envelope established by the setbacks, height, and lot coverage performance standards. My opinion is the variance is minor. The relief is not going to adversely impact the neighborhood character, particularly when you consider that it is being built within the as of right performance standards that establish the building envelope. There is the buffering that's provided by the two sides being located to Warwick and Sandbrook, and then that to the side to the south, there's the large rear yard of the neighboring property. And then finally, my opinion is that this variance is going to facilitate appropriate redevelopment of this property. The proposed dwelling will be compatible with the existing and permitted residential uses. It's going to achieve a character in terms of height, scale, and massing that's consistent with the existing two-story dwellings in the neighborhood. And it's going to help revitalize the existing residential use in a manner that reinforces the neighborhood character. So I would request that the variance be granted on the basis that those tests are met.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. Is there any questions of Mr. Barton or items of clarification at this time? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Sure. I'm looking at the right side elevation on the flanking yard, and I'm asking about the two vertical windows and wondering if that's glass at the top, glass at the bottom, and something else in the panel in the center, or is it glass in the center?
So I'm just looking at that now. So the flanking yard elevation. So you're speaking towards the rear portion before you get to the outdoor pergola, or pergola is wrong. Sorry, covered porch or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the two. Are you talking about the space between the two windows, or like those middle squares between the two rectangles?
The middle squares between the two rectangles.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. Again, my understanding is that they are windows. So the way this works is that portion of the dwelling has a partial area that's open to below. So these windows are intended to provide light into that rear area at the back. So I believe they are windows, yes.
Usually we don't like two-story elements in a house because they make the massing and scale larger. You're facing you're facing the flankage yard, and there's obviously the rear yard is beyond that porch, that covered porch. And is that going to be that's not the front of the house? Like the driveway's on the left side of that the driveway in the front entrance is to the left, on the left elevation.
Yeah, it would be effectively on where it becomes Sandbrook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up.
Very well. We'll take the matter into committee then. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Tlowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm going to move that this application be approved as applied for, finding that it meets the test of the Planning Act. I don't believe that the variance here will have an impact, and I think the design is very consistent with other recently built dwellings in the neighborhood. I would make that approval subject to two conditions. And Madam Chair, despite what the conditions say, I don't have a drawing dated November 11th. I have site plan and elevations dated October 14th. So I'm going to make the condition that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan and elevations dated October 14th, 2025. And that the approval expires if building permit doesn't issue within 2 years. And I'd also note that there was no objection from the community.
Okay, thank you. Is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? The application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night. We have minutes to confirm for January the 21st. Thank you, Ms. Price. And the motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. You were missed. But Ms. Price always held up the mantle, so need not worry. We are adjourned at 9:05. Thank you.